Well, hello there. I am the Watcher, and I have a slightly different video for you today. I'm going to take a break from my normal comic reviews to ask the question, can I turn a Mavrick rev-6 into the Good Samaritan from Hellboy? Now, of course this isn't my normal content, but again, I like to do crafts, and I figured if I have something on the channel, I should do the video for it so people could see how it's made, make one themselves if they want. Now, of course, if this is the first video you see on my channel and you want more craft videos, I'm sorry. I do have one more planned. I'm going to make the helmet from Captain America. I might end up making another one for the shield. Now today, not only will I be painting the gun, but I will be doing the air restrictor mod, and I will explain a little bit about the cylinder mod for the quicker reload, which I really don't care for. That's why I'm just explaining it. Now this is going to be a little different than my normal videos. I filmed a lot of this on the fly while doing it. So the quality, the sound quality, the background ambient noise, and the shaky camera is a little worse than normal. But I hope you'll still enjoy it, or you could just fast forward to the end where it'll just be me showing off the gun. Either way, let's get to it. Okay, so for the Good Samaritan project, this came today. This is the blaster I'm going to use for it. And it's pretty clean, it's in pretty good condition. Only problem is that doesn't quite always trigger, but I think there might just be some jam in the mechanic I can fix when I open it up. Now, I have these two older ones. This is a first generation. Anyone knows the first generations were way stronger. They started nerfing the Nerf after this because of some lawsuit. They started making it harder to modify them. So this one's a little weaker. This is a second gen. I got this one, and then I went to my friend's house, and he had this one, and he showed me about the modification, so I did it to mine. Now, I have tested. This one shoots a good 2 feet further than that one. I checked the serial numbers on it, and the patent numbers, and it has the same one as this one, so it looks like it's a later model as well. A little something about this one. My friend did this mod right here, where you see right there the post, he shaved one down so the thing swings out all the way so you could reload it. I didn't really do that with mine, and the reason I didn't do it with mine is because I just load them 2 at a time. Right here, I load them like this. So I always thought that was kind of silly, and it makes the gun a bit weaker. But yeah, so first step, my son's playing with his sand in the background. So first step, I'm going to open this boy up and take out the air restrictors. And while it's apart, I'll give it its first coat of paint, a nice black coat. And then I'll show you how to do the silver wear down on it. How to take out the air restrictors. Even where the part is on that one if you wanted to do the other mod. We'll put the little loop and lantern on it. It'll look pretty good by the end of these videos. So the first thing you need to do is take some screws out. Now, this thing, the slide has 2 screws here and here. And the body has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will put some red marks on the screen right now to show you where they all are. Now, I recommend having, this is my boy, I love him. So I recommend having a magnet. I have this Dora the Explorer here. And all this is for is when you have your screws and you take them out, you put them on there so they don't roll away and you don't lose them. And so they'll stay there until you're done, because I'm going to have to go paint a lot of these parts. Now, on mine, when I painted it, I had trouble under the slide sticking. So I hope I'm not going to have that issue this time, but we'll find out when we get there. When I get this all opened up, I of course will put some photos on the screen, maybe do a video showing you how the mechanics work, especially before I put it back together. Hey there, just a little update. So coming back, there is one I forgot right here, little hidden boy. So there's one more screw, so 8. Again, I'll mark them all on the screen and highlight them for you. And remember, you gotta take the slide off before you take anything else apart on these. So, keep in mind, it's been oh god, it's been over 12 years since I took one of these apart. So it was when I graduated high school. So around 2010. Anyways, so when you take this apart, there's this metal pole here. This does not, well, you can pull it out if you want, but I recommend just leaving it in and putting a little tape around it. This is what holds the spring that cocks your gun in there. See that? Now when you put it together, I recommend using a screwdriver to get in there and slide it over the pole. You put the end with the pole in first, and then slide it on there. Now once you get the slide off, guess what there's? Yes, another screw under the slide. So far that's 9 in all for the housing. And of course there's this little spring here, which goes on this part, which goes on the top of the gun. And you can leave this out, I believe. But the thing is, when you set it, when you set this piece in there, they want you to set it like this. So it kind of blocks your sight. You can't put it like this because it won't fit. You can kind of shave that down if you want, or you could leave it out. But there's a little spring that pushes it up. So I recommend leaving it in there. I mean, we might not understand why, but there's a reason they put that in there. And again, I got my spring and all my little screws on this magnet, and this is going to go in the stuff that's going to get painted pile. And I realized I didn't get tape, so I have to get some tape before I can do that. Okay, so the body has 8 screws. This is the body screw. And you see these ones on the slide? They're a little shorter. By the way, I got a better magnet. The Dora one was really weak. So, yeah, I'm going to show you that top piece right now because I'm going to forget to do that later. Just like the last comic book video I did, I wanted to make this whole joke about his hat looking like a mine, but I forgot, so I put it in with words. So with this thing, that dot there is what holds your spring. You put it in. It's easiest to get the spring on the platform, and then push it down and just slide it in. And when you're doing this on the gun, you're going to put the rod then right here that you will feed the spring onto. And you'll slide that in there and you'll put the spring on there, which I'll show you. Try to show you guys how to do that when I get to that. But I wanted to make just an example right now so you guys could see in color. And you'll have to make sure to get that rod on there when you're crimping the whole gun together. There we go. And it'll look like that. See what I meant, though, about it goes sideways. So it kind of messes with your sight, and I'm gonna paint her to be Balzette. My son wanted that. See, when you take it apart, it's wide, so you can't put it really the other way. Might be able to trim it down, but I don't know. I know people, they just left it out, or I believe on the red gun I got from my friend, it's just shaved down. So before I do the next part and break down the blaster and show you how to take out the air restrictors, I want to talk about the new ones like this. Now, it's much harder to do with these because they put even the back part here. It's like soldered on. So you can't get it off easy. You have to almost break it, and you risk breaking it just by taking it apart. And it has several points throughout the housing that do that. So unless you want to cut it, like with a circular, you get like a Dremel and just slide and cut it. It's going to be a pain to get in there and get to the air restrictor and drill it out. So sometimes you're better off not doing these.
Where's the bulldog pancake? Bulldog pancake.
Bulldog pancake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I like these ones because if you take this part off, it kind of looks like the Cosmic Punisher gun. You can see on this one I had a screw that was bad. That's what I did, is I got a Dremel and I cut it out. And theoretically you could do that with these, but it's going to make your gun weaker overall, so it's like, why bother? They just hate the modding community. It's like you can't sue if you mod it, so I don't know why they care.
Yeah.
The Echo is fun though. So after you get your gun open, this is what you're going to see. This here is your air chamber. You don't need to do anything to this. You just take this, put it to the side. Don't lose your spring. There are some websites where you can order more powerful springs, but still. This part too, I believe that's called the sear. And all these internals, I don't know why you'd want to paint them, but you can. If you're going to paint, I recommend taking off your screws and everything, because you don't want to gunk them up. But if you're just doing the air mod, no need to take those off. What you want is going to be in here. Now this is really the best gun. This was, like I said, the one that made them start making them weaker. Oh yeah, under the spring, or under the trigger, there's this spring. It hooks onto there. And that's pretty much the return on your trigger. So if you want to take your trigger off and paint it, make sure to get all that. And once again, this little rod, it's like the other one, it comes right out. Make sure not to lose that. Very important. So this is your cylinder right here. And if you look in here, you see those there's these little tabs. But those are essentially what is cutting down on your air power. So I'm going to open this up more and maybe get a better shot for you. So this is the hardest part, is getting the rod out. I use a fork. You can kind of pry it. Don't lose these parts. This is what goes in the back there. So once you get it like that, you can take these screws off and it slides right apart. So yeah, pretty much when you get the back of this off, there's all these little prongs in here and these things. And these are your air restrictors. See, it makes it so only a little bit of air gets through. There's also these 6 springs. You can put the springs back if you want. But yeah, you just take those out. And on some models, you have to drill them out. But this one, it was still early enough, they just come right out. So you just do that. So you see, that's where your dart will be. And you need these parts to hold. See, you still need them to make this seal so you get the good airflow, but you just want to take out that middle part. As you can see, the hole is the size of the center of the diameter of the dart. So you just take off like the prongs and you just cut between these tabs. I'll do that and I'll show you in a second. So you can use a drill or whatever, but this is what it'll look like when it's done. Some people take the prongs off or take them down, but it kind of puts your bullet where it needs to be. But you'll just have that nice little circle. Here's an unmodified one. So yeah, you just cut between those little circles. You can press down with a knife or use a drill or whatever. If you use a drill, go from this side. But I find it easier just to get a knife and push down. So after you get the back of your cylinder together, it'll look something like this with the springs in there, all 6 of them. And again, there's other ways people do it. Like my friend, he took the pegs off, but you know, to each their own. I think that works perfectly fine, because that's the exact diameter of the air hole, so it's like there's nothing else in the way. Take out extra, you kind of affect your seal. Is how I look at it. Yep. Alright, so we got all the parts we want to paint laid out. I'm going to do them, let them sit a while, and come over and flip them over. Do them again.
Yeah.
Now, once again, don't lose these little parts. These are very important. You excited, bud? So I got a Rust-Oleum chalk charcoal. I think it'll be nice. It'll look a lot like the gun I want to imitate. Alright, bud, get back. Oh, it went everywhere.
Went everywhere.
Yeah, that thing went everywhere.
It's too much funny.
Yep. Okay, we got it painted for now, and it looks a little more gray than I wanted, but we'll let it set and see how it turns out. So these parts are all painted now, and they look pretty good. I don't really like how that matches, so I'm going to go paint this and the button. But it turned out really nice. I might have to paint these, and I have to get painter's tape. But I'm going to do them brass, so it looks like the exposed cases on the Good Samaritan. Well, it turned out good, except right there it's a little lumpy. Kind of upside down. I didn't think about what part goes up. But I think when I put the silver on, it'll look pretty cool. Also, that part's still a little wet. But yeah, so next part is getting the cylinder and getting the brass on it. Okay, so the button and the cylinder are painted now, looking pretty good. The paint still needs to set. I'm going to let it set a long time, especially because I have to, like I said earlier, paint the bullets on there, well, the shells on there. But the paint should hold better now that there's a coat of paint on there, because I tell you, model paint would not hold very well to slick plastic. One thing that's cool is on my older ones, the paint was much thicker, and it made it feel smoother and whatnot. The Mavrick has a very unique grip texture here and here. They're different, and you kind of retain the feel of that grip. I'm really hopeful, especially about the slide, like once it all gets dry. If it does seize up, I'm just going to sand it off on the inside this time, but I don't think I'll have that issue. This Rust-Oleum paint is really good. I'm going to use it when I do the Captain America helmet too, coming up. This part's just waiting. Man, I so want to put it together now, but gotta do it right. I don't know if I want to do that metal brush to it. I'm probably going to. That part's gonna bother me a bit, but it looks like battle damage to me. I think it's gonna look sweet when it's done. Okay, so I just finished the biggest pain in the butt, which was taping this up so I can get the brass painted on. So now I'll do that, and then we'll get it together. We'll get the brushed look in the handle. And also, as soon as I get it together, I'll show you the difference in the sound that the gun makes now and the impact. I probably should have got spray paint to do this, but I used this model paint I've had since 2004. And it looks a little, kind of gives it that brushed metal look though. Knock some of the loose pieces off. Well, it's actually drying pretty quick. But yeah, it'll come together and smooth out a bit more as it dries. Definitely should have done spray paint though. If this paint like flakes off over time, I'll probably get spray paint and redo it. But it looks cool. I think it'll give it a different texture than the rest of the gun, at least. So like it'll make them look more like it's not one solid piece, like it's the exposed shells. But we'll see. I'm gonna let it dry overnight before I unwrap it. So I just got the tape off, and it looks pretty good. There's some parts, you know, I could be obsessively weird about, but I think all in all, definitely next time I would just spray paint. I would just use spray paint. But next I will get the gun together, and then we'll do some test fires, and I'll get the final touches done on it, the final bit of paint for that that silver, that battle damage look, and that worn down silver look, the wood handle, and the little lanyard part, to finish it off. Okay, I got this piece painted. Forgot to paint it. So when you paint this one, try to paint it like this and try not to get too much on top, because that is a surface area that's going to move. You might have to sand some of the paint off of that side, but it's not going to show, so no big deal. So I'm making this video to show you how this part goes together, the cylinder here. Because I realize some people might have trouble with it. Especially if your springs do this and they stick together. Dang it. You just gotta tweedle at them until you can spin them apart. It'd be easier if I used two hands. Oh, look, you can see. Looks so weird. Alright, there we go. So, you want to put 6 springs in here. Again, these are all magnetic, so get a nice magnet to hold all your hardware while you do this. They make actually these little metal bowls with magnets in them as well, like a lot of people buy those. And be very careful handling these, because they will just spring out of your hand. Quite literally. Alright, so there you go. So once you do that, you want to get your caps together. Now again, you can cut these off. I believe in my first one I did, because I just copied my friend's design, but have done quite a few Nerf guns since then. So you slide that on there like that. You make sure the spring is in the middle, and snap your cap on. Didn't really snap, it just well, it snugs on there. Pretty nice. So I'll get that done and show you the end result, so I don't drag this video out. By the way, you might be curious because he's in the background. This is Metal Knuckles. This is my original character. If you can't tell, this is satire for how the Sonic community is. I'll literally do something like this. Be like, this is my Sonic OC. I created this all on my own with no inspiration from outside sources. I totally didn't have cheap Sonic models that fell apart and I just glued them together like that because I thought it looked cool. Watch Ken Penders did this already and he owns the rights to it. Now he's going to sue me for having a Metal Knuckles. Okay, so these do really snug on here. And once you get together, they should do this. And again, I leave these on because it kind of helps your dart out a bit with the space. And you have the hole already, so you have pretty good air pressure. But this is what you're going to be ended with, and then you put your cylinder back together. Which I already snugged the top part onto there. It looks nice. Looks nice. So once you slide your 2 cylinder chambers back together, you can just slide them over like this. So then, just a quick note, if you take this part off to paint it, this is what holds this little rotating piece for the cylinder. The screw for it, as you can see, is slightly shorter than the other screws that house stuff like this. But it's the same diameter and head. So be careful not to lose or misplace or mix up those screws, because you don't want to strip that out putting in too big of one. So the next step is the brush metal look, which I've decided I will do a little bit. And I'm going to put a loop and a lanyard through there, paint this handle brown, do some of these screws silver, and it'll be about done. I would like to say that the slide works great. I didn't have to file this one down, but if you do, that's something you have to do. So I just finished the lanyard. I think it turned out pretty good. I couldn't find any patterns I liked online, so I just really looked at a zoom in of the Ron Perlman one and just kind of tied it to where it looked similar. I'm not sure how many knots he did, but I did 13 specifically. After I get the handle painted, I'll get this in there. I don't want to get paint on it, but it'll be like this. I think it'll look pretty cool. Probably gonna get like a nice horseshoe and then like a rosary, like a yellow rosary for display with this, which Hellboy fans, you get it. Alright, I got the handle painted in. It's looking pretty sweet. So I'm finishing up the painting here. I was about to add the brush bow damage. So how you get that is you get a little paint and you get like a block of wood like this. You spread it around till it's pretty light. I got a little sample here, you can kind of see it, and then you just go and see, it makes it look kind of like torn up. So I'm gonna get that on the gun, then I'll show you the finished result. You know, I was apprehensive about doing the brush metal, but it looks pretty sick. So once it dries, I'm gonna put this in and we'll be done, and then I'll make a video you know, showing it off in my office area. Well, that was cool, but before we get to the gun, let's take one more listen to those sound tests to hear the difference, if we can, in the power of the gun. So this is the pre-modification firing test. So you can see kind of how strong it is before and after. So test 1. This is just for the sound of the air. After modification. Test 1. Wow, that was really nice. Now, I did try to film those as close together in as similar of environments as possible, but I don't feel like it came across as well as it did in person being there. But the real reason you came here is to see the gun. So here it is, the Good Samaritan. Now, am I happy with it? Yes, I am. Does it look 100% like the one from Hellboy? No, but I believe I got the spirit of it. But the question, did I make the Good Samaritan from Hellboy? That's really up to you, the viewer. If you have any comments, I'd be happy to hear them down below. Now, of course, there's probably a few things I'd do differently if I did this again, but I really do enjoy it. I wanted a prop that I could actually wave around and shoot. And I don't like the 3D printed ones, I just don't like the texture of 3D printed things. Make them smooth. If I had to say one more downside to this, I don't aim so good, but the bullets are real big. You know, another little funny thing, I put these yellow bullets in there, but I have one green one to look like the tracer round. A lot of the ones I've seen people make online, they make all the rounds the tracer round. I think they just think it looks cool because it's glowy. So that's now going to be there in the background of all my videos, and now you know the story behind it. I hope if this is your first time joining me that you might check out some of my other content, and if not, at least join me back here for some of the other craft videos. Again, they're not going to be as regular as my comic reviews, but there will be some on the channel. Well, till next time, keep it locked and loaded.